Hey friends, today I'm making yellow rice and shrimp, roasted chicken, some of you might call it baked chicken, but roasted sounds fancier, and I'm making sweet potatoes. Hey friends, welcome to my channel, MBC Lifestyles Diary. My name is Marie, I live in New York, I love to cook, entertain, travel, go to cultural events, and I love fashion. I'm asking you to join me on the adventure. So today my side dish is sweet potatoes because I like the combination of salty sweet. So I have peeled these potatoes and I'm cutting them into rounds, not too thick, not too thin. And I start with this first, and then I'll progress to everything else. So, you go in here, and the thing when I'm making sweet potatoes is it doesn't take a lot of water because the potatoes produce water themselves, and you kind of want to get, you don't want the potatoes to drown or get super soggy in the water. So I don't put much in, just enough to start the boil, not have it stick to the pan and burn. And I'm going to start by putting half a stick of butter in there and reserve the other half for when it goes in the oven. And as usual, my oven is being preheated at 400 degrees. So I would say you put as much vinegar flavoring as you like. I think that's about a teaspoon. And we start the process. And now the next thing we're going to do is the chicken. I'm going to add some salt. I've left the chicken out to get to room temperature. And I know I said it's baked chicken, but I like to cook it stovetop first, and it's for two reasons. Because when you bake chicken, to make sure it's cooked, you can, it takes a long time. But if you do this process, which if I translate it correctly, it's called you sweat the chicken. So you kind of just start the process of cooking the chicken so that the bake time doesn't take as long. And the other thing that this does is that then you also get a wonderful sauce from the chicken that you then use to make your rice. Yes, we are building flavor. If you've watched me before, you know that's what I love. Build flavor every which way you can. You'll also know that pretty soon I'm going to be chopping up some shallots, scallions, garlic, and red pepper. And this is another instance where it's not a lot of water, you're sweating it, and the chicken produces water. So this has dissolved. I'm pouring it in because you don't want it to stick and burn. This is also covered. And that I'm going to use for the rice, as everything else, is defrosting, and I have it seasoned with salt, pepper, and seafood seasoning. Let me show you. Okay, by Victoria Taylor's. Here's some sage. And I'm sure you were going, where's the red chili peppers? Here they are. So I call this my base season because I put it in everything. And somebody once asked, but doesn't that make everything taste the same? And the answer is no, it does not. Because all the foods react differently and pick up the different flavors with these basic seasonings. It's like there's only one perfume, but 100 women can wear it, and it will be different on them all, except for, I guess, the base notes, but it has a different chemical reaction on their bodies. And it's the same with food. It brings out different flavors in the meat, in the seafood. Also makes it easier for you when you, as a home cook, when you go shopping, that you know you have this. Makes life easier. But this also comes, you know, in French cooking they also do this. There's a combination where they do onions and celery, and it's chopped up, and it's the base that they use. Or even the special sauce that I go on and on about, it's the equivalent of sofrito that just enhances the food. And it all depends on quantity. So you see, I like to put a dash of nutmeg, a lot of cinnamon, so I feel guilty cooking this dish because I like to put a lot of sugar. I put a combination of brown and white sugar. And the joke in our family is that I've added a little bit of sweet potato to my sugar. Yes, yes. But I just think it tastes so good with the spicy rice and shrimp and the roasted chicken. Just wonderful combination of flavors. And I think that comes from my Caribbean background, because you know you have plantains with your meals, you know, and there's certain meals you have the green plantain, which is not sweet. Other meals that you have the sweet or the ripe plantains, the yellow plantains, and that, you know, and everybody fought over the plantains. It was just the right amount, and food tended to be more spicy in the days. I mean, I guess for some family it still is. I think I've toned down my spiciness because number one, not everybody likes it. likes their food spicy, let's put it that way. So you want everybody to enjoy. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still kick in the food, and if you wanted added spice, then you know, there's the pickles that you can add, there's the hot sauce that's always available for you to add. But as far as cooking it in right away, I've kind of toned down on that. And I'm just monitoring this to see the softness come in. And I'm going to add, did I say vinegar before? I meant vanilla. I hope you guys know that. I'm going to add about a cup of white sugar. A cup of brown sugar. And it all depends on how sweet you want it, how adverse you are. Some people might be going, sweet potatoes are already sweet. Yes, I know. But this is oh so good. So as I said before, you're sweating the chicken. So it's not actually like you're trying to get it cooked through and through. I'm just trying to get the red out. So this is how I want all the chicken to look. And as you can see, the sauce is building that I will use for the rice and reserve and use for another dish. Because why would I get rid of all this delicious flavor? Because everything in the chicken is giving flavor, including the bone marrow. These are all cook ahead dishes, so I'm making a large quantity. So this will be good during the week. I don't have to worry about it, and if somebody pops by, there's plenty of food. I'm not making an exact amount. This I'm going to lower the flame a little. And I'm waiting just to see the softness of the potato. That's what I'm waiting for. And I look at it and I don't think it's syrupy enough. So yes, more sugar. So let me get my pan ready for the chicken. So yes, this is your chicken broth. Rather than buying it pre-packaged, high sodium content and preservatives, this is what you're making with your flavoring. So I got these cuts. I'm putting skin side up. So look at that sauce. Lovely sauce. Smells delicious. Also with this broth, you can make sauce for your rice. So all you need is to chop up some onions and garlic and a tomato paste. And you add this broth. It's a lovely sauce if you were making if you wanted it to go on your chicken or your rice. So here we go. Sprinkle some garlic. Because what are we doing, people? We're building flavor. Yes, building flavor. Because flavor needs layers. I don't know, maybe some of you are looking at this and going, oh my God, this is way too much work, but it's so worth it. And actually, This is a lot less work than I saw my mother and aunties go through. They probably feel like I'm cheating. Guess what we're doing here? Yes, my friends, more. More. So also cooking like this reminds me of my family, like, because they can smell it and they go, oh my God, you're cooking. Because the home, everything gets filled with such wonderful aroma. This is oil, by the way, to help the baking process. And now, let us see how our potatoes are doing. Oh, nice and soft, yes. Very nice, very nice. So, this is a reason you have to know the produce of your area. So my son and daughter-in-law were living in Germany because my daughter-in-law is German, and honestly, she can't believe how sweet some of our stuff is. But my son requested this dish, and I was like, you're gonna have to go against your sensibilities, and when it says that's enough sugar, just add one more scoop. So she followed my instructions, because I'm in the States as I'm telling her this, and I called and said, well, how was it? She goes, didn't come out good at all. It was like, it was kind of overly sweet, and it was just like way too much. So I made note of that. I was like, really? So we go to visit them, and of course the request comes in to please make this dish. So remembering how she said that all that sugar was terrible, I cut it down and I looked at it, and the first thing I saw is that their sweet potatoes are incredibly beautiful, and their color is really bright. And I realized, okay, this isn't a sweet potato that's been sitting around and has gotten dried out. This is really fresh from the farm. And when I made it with, the brown sugar was still in there, but not like you've just seen me go in. And it was so delicious. And I was like, because the natural sweetness is still here. And thank God she had that experience first. So I knew that I had to change the way I seasoned it from living in New York. So here I'm going to try to cook this and cook it down more and make it more syrupy. So now we're going on to the rice, and we're using the same pot that the chicken was just sweated in or cooked in. And if you look in here, you'll see there's still residual seasoning here from the chicken. So I have some seasoned oil here that I'm going to put in. Right? And the seasoned oil had like garlic and shallots in it. I'm going to add more scallions and garlic and shallots. A dollop of my special seasoning. This gives the rice the yellow color. Sazon con azafran. Pardon my very bad Spanish. I try. Gonna cook that up. And you need to read the instructions on your rice, because this says 2 cups of rice, I put in 3 cups of water. So if you recall, this is the liquid from the chicken, and that's going in there. And let me measure out the cups. So here are my 2 cups, but I will tell you, I have family members that do not measure out the rice. They do it by sight. Making rice is an art form, and it takes practice. And I must say, I get frustrated all the time because sometimes it turns out right and sometimes it doesn't. For me, my guests don't know, but for me, I know. I know the texture I want. I know how I want it to look. And I have learned to stifle the screams in the kitchen from when it doesn't turn out the way I want. And my husband doesn't care because he thinks it's delicious, and he likes the seasoning at the bottom of the pan called bagao. We call it gratin, and Americans call it garbage. Yeah! Here's the rice, the water is boiling. And I'm going to add the rice. And I know I'm going to add corn and shrimp that produce water, so I'm going to add just a little more. Here's my shrimp. That's why I add more rice, because you see the corn is frozen, the shrimp gives off its own water. So it says you cook for 15 to 20 minutes until the water is absorbed. Yes, to me it looks a little still too watery. This is just to try to seal it in. Check your time. Lower your flame. And then you wait. Everything is in the oven. I still have some chicken broth for my potatoes, my macaroni, my sauce, or whatever other rice dish I want to make. I use the Carolina jasmine rice because I like the flavor, I like the texture. And now you just wait. This is what I like. The skin is crunchy, the meat is tender. And here's the rice. So let me plate it for you. So I've plated the food. It's chicken, shrimp and rice and sweet potatoes, which would taste wonderful with like a Pinot Grigio or a rosé even. But unfortunately for me, I don't have that available. But I do still have a very nice Beaujolais, which is nice and fruity, and I'm going to enjoy that with my meal. And bon appetit, please. If you like this content, like and subscribe and let me know what you'd like to hear.